About a year ago, I bought an 80-pound Parmesan cheese wheel, and we probably made the best pasta I've ever tasted in my life. So today, I figured we'd dive deeper into the world of Italian food and make risotto. But there's going to be something special about this risotto, because today we're making this risotto in an entire Parmesan cheese wheel. This bad boy right here retails for $3,000 and comes from my homeland of Italy. It's called Parmezan. That's how it is. And if you look closely at all the things across the wheel on the sides, it tells us all sorts of information about where it comes from, how long it's been aged. It even has a QR code. In fact, I think we should scan the QR code to see what we find. QR codes are a fairly new thing for everybody, but never in my life did I think I'd be scanning one off of Parmesan. It worked. Oh, that worked. Is it your video? When carving the Parmesan wheel, we have a series of special knives we use to open it up. To start, we're going to score the entire Parmesan wheel with our knife, going all around the top edge to give ourselves a guide. Once we made a really nice outline across the top of our wheel, we're going to use our second knife, which allows us to go into that outline we just created and go all the way around the cheese. This is the third and final tool we need to open the palm. At this point, we're going to wedge these pieces into the sides of the wheel and start going around the wheel to leverage this top. Once each wedge has been placed in, we'll wiggle back and forth to get that entire area separated. It's time for the big reveal. After all that carving and all that digging, we've finally gotten the top ready to pop. That was a nice little crispy sound. I mean, is that the crazy thing? If you look at this giant piece that we just got off right here, that is perfection. We have even cut all the way around the edge. But more importantly, if you come and look closely at the cheese here, we have a really nice clean break and can see all those little crystals telling us that this is a fantastic high quality meal of Parmesan cheese. So immediately when this opens up, what do you smell? Even when we carved it open, you can start smelling the aroma of the cheese. It smells incredible. It's one of those things where when you smell this, you feel like you've never smelled Parmesan for real. Of course, isn't it? Nobody knows real Parmesan until you try it. It's extremely strong though, and not in a bad way. At my dad's restaurants, they use nothing but the actual Parmesan wheel. That's what makes the difference between a good Italian restaurant and not, is the effort and the money you put into the quality of your product. Please don't buy that fake Parmesan BS. I hate that. Those bottles of Parmesan get off the shelves. The worst thing you could ever do. No, never get that. Spend an extra bit of money and savor it. A general rule of thumb would be to get things as close to the source as you can. So if you can buy a nice big hunk of Parmesan cheese, it's supposed to even just grate it. Even if it's high quality Parmesan cheese, do it. First things first, you open a big wheel of Parmesan like this. What's the first thing you gotta do? You gotta taste it. Let's go. Here we go. You're going for the this little Parmesan sword. Just take a look at this piece up close and how beautiful it is. It's almost kind of majestic. Little flavors. Oh my god. There's actually no words to describe it. Honestly, the difference with something like this, all those minerals and those crystals in there, which are really nice and a mark of a good Parmesan cheese, are in there, and they really give an extra kind of depth to the mouthfeel of this. Really, this is something incredible, something you should try to taste at some point in your life because it's my. Next up, we're going to set that Parmesan meal aside, but first we'll head to the local fish market to grab a few beauties. Let's go. Right now, we got Larry the Lobster. This here is a beautiful 3-pound lobster, one of the biggest lobsters I've ever had in this kitchen. But before we do anything with this lobster, I think I hear him saying something. He said, "Manny's fire." Manny, you're done. I think because this big old guy's so beautiful, we're going to spare him another day, and we'll use these 2 small ones instead. Since we're sparing this lobster's life today, go down and toss a like and subscribe. You're not going to want to miss what's coming next. I really don't like to show the actual killing part of the lobster, so we're sorry, Larry. While we wait for our lobsters to cook, we're going to chop up some onions and give you some beautiful B-roll with it. It's time to separate out that beautiful lobster meat. First off, we're going to start with some homemade chicken broth. That looks good. We can't forget to add all those beautiful lobster shells to our stock, which will create something very important in cooking. Flavors. When making risotto, you want to use a heavy bottom pot or pan if possible, which makes this one perfect. We are finally on to the risotto making process, and to begin, we're going to go in with a nice drizzle of olive oil. Next, we go in with the yellow and white onions. And last but not least, we'll hit it with just a little bit of salt. After our onions have been stirring for about 5 minutes. We'll go in with about a half ladle of stock and stir that in. Stir for 5 to 10 minutes until the liquid cooks up. And now we finally add our rice. This step is called toasting the rice. This step here enhances the nuttiness of the grain, adding an extra layer of flavor to the final dish. We'll stir this for about 3 minutes at medium heat. Make sure you stir constantly so no grains of rice get overly toasted. Once the rice has been toasting for a few minutes, we add a nice little splash of white wine. Now for the next 15 to 20 minutes, we'll be slowly adding in our hot stock. Well, I will be gently stirring this to make sure that the rice absorbs all of that delicious, flavorful liquid. You just want to let it lift 1 or 2 at a time. Keep stirring and let it absorb. It might seem like it's a lot, but I promise you the rice will grow up and absorb all of the stuff. We're about 3/4 of the way through, and this right here is why these risotto is so incredibly time-consuming. We've just been stirring, adding more stock over and over, and look how much it's risen. It's blown up like crazy. And without having added any butter, any cheese, any cream yet, look how creamy this risotto already is. That to me is one of the amazing things about risotto, but it looks like we still have a few more minutes left, and as he gets closer to finishing up with that stock, we can start to taste it and check whether or not those grains of rice are perfectly cooked. And you can cook it to your liking just like pasta. You should probably cook it up. After 20 minutes of medium-high, our risotto is almost complete. You can see this amazing creaminess even without the addition of butter or cream. But to finish off, we just need to add a few last things. To finish it off, we're gonna have a nice drizzle of olive oil, a couple nice cubes of butter, and perhaps most importantly, that fresh Parmesan cheese. Look at that fresh Parmesan. Make sure to add as much or as little fresh cracked pepper as you like. At this point, we'll draw ourselves a guideline on the Parmesan cheese wheel, and then begin to dig out that hole for our risotto. We're going to add some white wine into our carved out Parmesan cheese wheel, and then light it on fire to get some of that extra cheesiness from our risotto. Dump it in. Here we go. Now at this point, it's finally time to fill our wheel full of that beautiful risotto. And does it smell good? Perhaps one of the most amazing smells to ever come out of this kitchen. And last but not least, don't forget to top it with all that amazing lobster and those pinches. After all of our incredibly hard work, I think it's time that we get to taste this. So let's dive in. Right? Cheers. Oh my God, what the picture? I feel like sometimes people no longer trust my food reviews in my own food because I often say that it's the best thing I've ever tasted, which is really just saying. However, I saw them. I think this is true. This is crazy. Something about the risotto, having that fresh Parmesan first of all, but I think what also really carried it home for me is the lobster in the stock. Absolutely. What do you think? That is the foundation because you're actually having that flavor inside of the rice itself. It's one of those things that goes to sort of show you that you shouldn't waste anything, and if we wanted to take it another level, we gotta toss so much of that Parmesan rice as well into the stock. Why not? Cuban has been an absolute wonder. Thank you so much. What are your final thoughts, ratings, as a true full-blood Italian more of one than myself? What do you think of this risotto? I think the first thing I'm gonna do is call my dad and tell him to put that on the menu as a restaurant. I think every restaurant needs it. In terms of the actual flavors, do you think the cheese being fresh, even though it has been aged, elevated things? Absolutely. I think that's the foundation of a good dish to me. An Italian dish requires a good Parmesan, or else you're gonna ruin everything and you won't get the good flavors. You gotta have fresh Parmesan. Before we close, I need one more bite. The aromas coming off this risotto are fantastic, and while making this dish pretty much took the entire day, this is one of those foods in life that is well worth it. Once again, I'm gonna remind you to smack that like and subscribe button, just like the lobster told me to. And if not for us, do it for Larry, the lobster who sacrificed his life for this video. Also, don't forget to check out Q's channel, which I'll toss the link in the description below for. Happy cooking!